Good evening, I'm Andy Park. The top stories tonight. The historic deal, a free trade deal between Australia and the world's biggest economy.
It will change our countries for the better.
Anger in the streets as Hong Kong debates election reform. Mauled to death in the street, a man killed by an escaped tiger. And athletes around the world pay tribute to Australia's Ron Clark.
We lost a champion runner and a champion person.
But first tonight, a decade of negotiations has ended successfully, with Australia signing a historic free trade deal with the world's largest economy, China. The agreement should eliminate almost all trade barriers between the countries and is expected to boost trade by $20 billion over 20 years. But there will be hundreds of jobs lost at Woolworths. Chief Executive Grant O'Brien quit as the supermarket giant cut its full-year profit outlook by $300 million and embarked on a cost-cutting drive. It's also sacking 1,200 workers. Recent efforts to lift performance have failed as rivals chip away at its market share.
Challenging time, Australians can get better pricing.
Well, thousands of pensioners will have a few more dollars in their pocket each fortnight because of a compromise between the government and the Greens. But the opposition has slammed the deal as a dud and a rip-off.
Liberal Party.
Labor's poor. SBS World News.
Hong Kong politicians have begun debating Beijing's planned electoral changes that could reset the territory's democratic future. It's Hong Kong's most important decision since the 1997 handover from Britain. More than 400 African migrants have been rescued in two operations off the Libyan coast. They've been taken to the Sicilian port of Augusta. About 100,000 migrants have entered Europe so far this year, with some 2,000 dead or missing in the dangerous trip across the Mediterranean Sea. South Korea has reported one more death from MERS, bringing the total death toll to 20. The latest victim was a 54-year-old woman who had weak bronchial tubes and high blood pressure. She was diagnosed last month. 8 new cases were also confirmed.
One of the lessons from all of this is that it's just very clear that these kinds of outbreaks can occur anywhere in the world. They can appear in any country.
A tiger that broke loose after severe flooding at a zoo has killed one man and wounded another in Georgia. Police killed the animal, which had been hiding in an abandoned factory. Zoo officials in Tbilisi had previously said that all 7 of the zoo's tigers were killed in the flooding. The teenager who shot and killed Australian baseballer Christopher Lane has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. Prosecutors said 18-year-old Chancey Luna and 2 other teenagers in the car shot the Australian because they were bored. Christopher Lane had been studying in Oklahoma. Swiss authorities have revealed they are examining 53 possible cases of money laundering as part of their investigation into FIFA. Switzerland's inquiry into the bidding process for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups is running in parallel with the FBI probe into FIFA, which has already produced multiple arrests. The Swiss Attorney General warned that the Swiss inquiry, with a huge amount of data to analyse, won't be quick.
The world of football needs to be patient. By its nature, this investigation will take more than the legendary 90 minutes.
The Attorney General has not ruled out interviewing FIFA boss Sepp Blatter as part of his inquiry. Ron Clark was one of the greatest runners in history. He inspired a generation to come. That was just some of the tributes paid to the Australian runner and politician today as the world learnt of his death. Athletes around the globe honoured the man who won 17 world records but never an Olympic or Commonwealth gold. He died after a short illness.
It was.
Well, coming up after the break.
I'm really rich.
Trumping his opponents, the Donald declares his presidential plan. Welcome back. Real estate mogul and television host Donald Trump has thrown his hat into the ring to be the next US president. In trademark Trump style, the announcement was made at his lavish Trump Tower. Donald Trump has considered running several times before, most recently in 2011, when he ruled himself out to continue hosting his TV show. He didn't hold back when outlining how he planned to improve America.
I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second.
Mr. Trump also said Mitt Romney lost the last election because he didn't do the chat shows. Republican rival Jeb Bush wasn't making that mistake, slow jamming the news with Jimmy Fallon on late night TV.
You were able to perform in Florida.
He's a master debater.
There are now 12 major candidates in the race for the Republican nomination. Well, the woman at the centre of a race row in the US insists she is black despite her white parents declaring otherwise. Rachel Dolezal was speaking for the first time since being forced to quit her position with America's leading anti-racism organisation.
So what matters most? The colour?
2 US warships are in Australian waters for joint military exercises with our Defence Force next month. Their arrival coincides with rising tensions in the South China Sea.
For War Games, Julia Calixto, SBS World News.
Coming up, the weather and State of Origin Rugby League heads to the MCG. Plus, an old man and his pet turning heads on Tokyo streets. Let's check the finance figures now. And the Australian share market closed 1% higher, with strong gains by the big banks driving the broader market. As mentioned, Woolworths shares fell as the supermarket giant announced the departure of its chief executive, Grant O'Brien, and the axing of 1,200 jobs. Telstra firmed along with the major miners BHP Billiton and Rio Tinto. Tokyo's Nikkei slipped to a one-week low in choppy trade. Markets in Europe are down in early deals. Wall Street made strong gains before its interest rate decision. The Australian dollar is weaker against the greenback. It's mostly lower across the other major global currencies. And on the commodity markets, gold is down and oil is up. Well, New South Wales has set up a State of Origin decider by winning Game 2 of the series. It was played in front of more than 90,000 people at the MCG, the largest ever Origin crowd. And as with the best Origin games, it wasn't without its controversy.
Melbourne's.
Exciting stuff too. The weather now, and after days of heavy rain in Sydney, the skies cleared, and just before sunset the city was treated to a rare double rainbow right across the sky. Mother Nature turned on a stunning performance with the repeat rainbow perfectly framing some of Sydney's famous landmarks. But the show didn't last long, and bad news, it's back to more wet weather tomorrow. To the forecast now, and in the major centres, possible thunderstorms for Perth, some morning fog for Brisbane, showers for Melbourne and Sydney, fine in Darwin. Looking further afield, a sunny day for Nadi. Auckland should also see plenty of sunshine. In Southeast Asia, a fine day for Port Moresby, cloudy skies over Denpasar. Further north, sunny spells for Seoul, hot in Hanoi, drizzle in Shanghai and overcast in Taipei. Heading west, a fine day for Beirut, Jerusalem and Baghdad. A few showers for Tehran. To Europe, Madrid and Moscow are the sunny spots, while Athens, London and Stockholm get the rain. In Africa, Addis Ababa and Nairobi look wet. Thunderstorms for Lagos, but a fine sunny day for Johannesburg. In South America, thunderclaps over Asunción and Panama City. Showers for Caracas. And for North America now, New York and Havana get a sunny day. Dallas, Washington DC and Mexico City all looking rainy. Well, if you're feeling lazy on this winter's night, take heart from our final story. And remember, speed is not everything.
They take it easy, this who may just win the race. Prulawan, SBS World News.
That's a slow walk. Well, that's the world this Wednesday. Tune into our next World News Bulletin on SBS Radio tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'm Andy Park. Good night.